It's not exactly news that vehicle shoppers prefer crossovers these days, and Mazda makes some good ones, but let's not forget the classic four-door sedan. The Mazda 6 is roomy enough for the family, both front and rear. Good looking too, especially dipped in this soul red crystal paint that's worth the $595 upcharge. For 2018, the 6 gets updated. For example, all models get LED lighting. There's even this fancy new top trim level christened Signature. It'll grab your attention while walking towards the CX-9 in the showroom.
And even if crossovers weren't a threat, 6 competes in a very competitive segment. Remember, Honda Accord and Toyota Camry are all new, so Mazda really needed to refresh this machine.
Automatic emergency braking is now standard. Mazda aficionados will notice the grille's been redone. Inside the Signature, the Napa leather seat's chestnut color is supposedly inspired by Japanese temples. I simply appreciate that they're comfortable, heated, and vented. As it moves upscale with real sen wood, what taiko drums are made from, Mazda happily embraces its Japanese origins.
There's a synthetic trim material in here called Ultra Suede. It has a very rich look that changes in different light, and it's nearly irresistible to touch. Mazda claims it's very durable.
The big news for Zoom Zoom fans is power. Under a heavy hood, surprised it's not aluminum, is a new optional 2.5-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder that delivers 310 pound-feet of torque at 2,000 RPM. Give it premium fuel, and there's 250 horsepower. Standard grade gas drops it down to 227. The Signature sports a head-up display. Gear changes are done with a 6-speed automatic. Keeping in sporty Mazda character, manual shifts can be done here. The Sport model can be had with an honest-to-goodness 6-speed manual, but not with the turbo engine. Sport mode changes the throttle response and transmission mapping.
Add a lot of power to a front-wheel drive car, and sometimes you get something called torque steer, which is a tugging of the steering wheel under hard acceleration.
Throttle lag is minimal. 0 to 60 miles an hour takes about 6.5 seconds. Brisk. As for the torque steer,
Mazda handles it pretty well. I have not ended up in my neighbor's bushes.
This small Japanese company prides itself on driving dynamics. Mazda 6 is compelling when the roads turn twisty. Engineers have retuned the suspension, and for better road feel, the electric steering rack is now rigid mounted to the chassis, and sedans have a lower center of gravity than crossovers. Just saying.
Apparently, one of the reasons why the Mazda feels so good in the corners is G-vectoring control. When you turn the wheel, it adjusts the engine timing, reducing torque just a tiny little bit, which shifts the weight to the front wheels, which means curves feel a little bit more natural. It's imperceptible, but Mazda says it makes a difference.
It also says new seat foam absorbs vibration better, or maybe it's that revised suspension that helps to reduce harshness.
The 2018 model uses more sound insulation, has different suspension mounts, and thicker sheet metal in some places, so it's definitely quieter than the 2017 6. I have complained in the past that Mazda's sports setting makes the throttle tip in a little bit too aggressive. It's okay here.
Touring models and above get adaptive cruise control with stop-and-go ability, ideal for commuting in bad traffic, automatic high beams as well.
Most cars these days come with the fuel-saving automatic engine start-stop system. The Mazda 6 does not have it. You have to do it manually. Okay, kidding. Who's gonna do that?
The government-rated fuel economy is an average of 26 miles per gallon, lower than many competitors, especially any of the hybrid models. Oftentimes, turbo engines don't achieve Uncle Sam's rated efficiency, but 26 is what I saw. The Signature model does dress up the cabin in a nice way, but keep in mind the as-tested price is $36,400. In addition to the real wood and touchable Ultra Suede, the wheel is heated and there's dual-zone climate. An 11-speaker Bose system sets a nice, spacious soundstage. There's no CD player anymore if that's a deal-breaker. The sunroof is the standard size. The center console is smaller than usual, but there are other places to park personal stuff. The user interface is fine and should make most owners happy since it can be controlled with this or by touch. FYI, neither Android Auto or Apple CarPlay are available, at least for now.
Now, the reason I endure my evil twin, who's enduring who? See what I mean? Is to show you how comfortable a 5'9" passenger is behind a 5'9" driver. And, it's not bad back here, but first let me talk about the trim. It's nicely done back here. A lot of times automakers eliminate the wood in the back to save money. Mazda didn't do that. Now, as far as room, knee, leg, foot room, pitchfork room, all pretty generous back here.
There's the usual storage here and in both back seats. The floor is fairly flat, that shouldn't be a problem for feet. In the armrest, there are the controls for heated outboard seats. That's only on the Signature model. This is where the USB ports live. Nice to have them. Hard to use if 3 people are back here, and the 6 can take that many on, at least for shorter trips.
Back to crossovers. People like them not just for the raised ride height, but the squared off cargo hold that swallows an awful lot of stuff. Mazda makes the 6 in a wagon. They just don't bring it to the US. That's a shame. It's a really good looking rig.
Well, at least there's a spare. Some cars only put a repair kit and inflator back here. Nice that there are releases, but the seat backs don't drop, and it's a deep trunk, so unless you have something long to push it down with, a trip to the back seat is required.
It's a little frustrating.
I've done this test on the Camry, which takes on 6 packs of the 2-ply, and what do you know, the 6 scores a 6 as well. Market forces being what they are, it seems sedans like the Mazda6 won't have as easy a time getting into an owner's garage, not with crossovers so popular, and the 6 is up against some heavy hitters in its own class. In addition to Accord and Camry, Legacy, Malibu, Altima, Fusion, Sonata, Optima, and Passat want their slice of the pie as well. Competition like that is good for buyers though. The freshened Mazda6 makes a boring commute a little more entertaining. One thing about the lower trim models that's interesting, the 2.5-liter non-turbo 4-cylinder Skyactiv engine has cylinder deactivation. Yup, during light loads, it can run on just 2 cylinders. That engine offers up 187 horsepower and 186 pound-feet of torque. They're nearly matchy-matchy. A tech factoid, one reason the turbo engine has little lag is the inlet port that forces air into its turbocharger is small. It's like how water squirts farther from a hose when you hold your finger over the end. A secondary valve opens at higher revs for more airflow and horsepower.
You deserve a fun fact for sticking around to the very end. This car is painted in Mazda's signature color, Soul Red, and it costs an extra $595. Now, some might say that's just a money grab on Mazda's part, and that might be true. They are in the business of making that stuff, but it does need to go through the paint shop in a special way. Now, a Mazda rep shared a story with me where a racing tuner requested that the company stop sending them Soul Red MX-5 Miatas, not because of cost, but because of weight. Apparently, this paint adds 12 to 13 pounds to a Miata, and they don't even paint the top. So I'm guessing it adds, 20, 25 pounds to a Mazda 6? Just thought I would share that story with you. That's Driven. I'm Tom Voelk.